Besama Ab, well world, where my fescadus, Ahadu Amlak, Amen. Besama Ab, well world, where my fescadus, Ahadu Amlak, Amen. Besama Ab, well world, where my fescadus, Ahadu Amlak, Amen. Good morning, blessed love. You might be able to see the dog just behind me here. I don't know how much yet. You can just about see her. So hopefully she's not going to be too distracting. She's always been in the background for most of these videos. I'm surprised she hasn't made a face appearance yet. But sometimes you might hear her snoring. She's definitely snoring in yesterday's video at the beginning anyway. So hopefully that wasn't too distracting. So on with the reading, and I believe we're still in the story of Joseph and his father Jacob and the brothers and the reuniting of those families. So and on a quite an epic scale. So I'm going to continue with the reading and see how we get on with the reasoning. Give thanks, blessed love. So, and Israel journeys and all that he has, and comes to Beersheba, and sacrifices to the God of his father Isaac. And God speaks to Israel in visions of the night, and says, Jacob, Jacob. And he says, here I am. And he says, I am God, God of your father. Do not be afraid of going down to Egypt, for I set you there for a great nation. I go down with you to Egypt, and I also certainly bring you up. And Joseph puts his hand on his eyes. And Joseph rises from Beersheba, and the sons of Israel carry away their father Jacob, and their infants and their wives in the wagons which Pharaoh has sent to carry him. And they take their livestock and their goods which they have acquired in the land of Canaan, and come into Egypt. Jacob and all his seed with him, his sons and his sons with him, his daughters and his sons' daughters indeed. All his seed he brought with him into Egypt. And these are the names of the sons of Israel who are coming into Egypt. Jacob and his sons, Jacob's firstborn Reuben, the sons of Reuben, Enoch and Phalu, and Ezron and Carmi, the sons of Simeon, Jemuel and Jamin, and Ohad and Jachin and Zohar, and Shaul, son of the Canaanite, the sons of Levi, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari, the sons of Judah, and Onan, and Shelah, and Perez, and Zerah, and and Onan die in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Perez are Hezron and Hamul. The sons of Issachar are Tola and Fuva, and Job and Shimron. The sons of Zebulun are Serad and Elon and Jalil. These are the sons of Leah, whom she bore to Jacob in Paddan Aram. And his daughter Dinah, all the persons and his sons and his daughters are 31. And the sons of Gad, Ziphon and Hagi and Shuni and Esbon and Eri and Arodi and Arali. The sons of Asher, Jimnah and Isha and Isu and Bere, and their sisters Sarah. The sons of Bere are Heber and Michal. The sons of Zilpah are I'll read that again. And the sons of Zilpah, whom Laban gave to his daughter Leah, and she bears these to Jacob, 16 persons. The sons of Rachel, Jacob's wife, Joseph and Benjamin, and born to Joseph in the land of Egypt, whom Asneth, daughter Potipharah, priest of On, has borne to him, are Manasseh and Ephraim. The sons of Benjamin, Bela and Becher, and Ashbel, Gera, and Naaman, Ehi and Rosh, Muppin and Huppin and Ard. These are the sons of Rachel who are born to Jacob. All of these persons are 14. And the sons of Dan, Hushin, and the sons of Naphtali, Jazil and Guni and Jezer and Shelim. These are the sons of Bilhah, whom Laban gave to his daughter Rachel, and she bears these to Jacob. All of these persons are 7. All the persons who are coming to Jacob to Egypt, coming out of his thigh, apart from the wives of Jacob's sons. All of these persons are 66. And the sons of Jacob who have been born him into Egypt are 2 persons. All the persons of the house of Jacob who are coming into Egypt are 70. And Judah he has sent before him to Joseph, to direct before him to Goshen. And they come into the land of Goshen. And Joseph harnesses his chariot and goes up to meet his father Israel to Goshen, and appears to him, and falls on his neck, and weeps on his neck again. And Israel says to Joseph, "Let me die this time, after my seeing your face. You are yet alive." And Joseph says to his brothers and to the house of his father, "I go up and declare to Pharaoh and say to him, my brothers and the house of my father who are in the land of Canaan have come to me, and the men are feeders of a flock, and they have been men of livestock, and their flock and their herd, and all that they have bought. And it comes to pass, when Pharaoh calls for you, he has said, what are your works? And they have said, your servants have been men of livestock from our youth, even until now, both we and our fathers, in order that you may dwell in the land of Goshen, for the abomination of the Egyptians is everyone feeding a flock." For these 3 words I give thanks. Yetabarek Fakir. So here we see the reunification of Israel and his son Joseph, after all these years in separation. And all these years Israel thought that Joseph had died. When his brothers sold him into slavery, they didn't tell the dad what happened. So it's an emotional chapter. Then there's kind of a functional bit in the middle. So Joseph, aka these names get confusing. So Israel, aka Jacob, leaves his homeland to go to see Joseph in Egypt, and then it gives a genealogy saying the 12 sons of Israel, who their offsprings are, and it's basically showing them as a growing nation and a growing people, and that's exactly what God was looking to establish, that Jacob will be bearing 12 sons, and they shall be God's nation on earth. So this chapter is kind of describing to us that this is a big entourage that are leaving the land of Canaan to go to Egypt. This is basically the whole nation. So this is what's trying to establish. It's not just, Israel and his 12 sons and their children. This is a huge set of people that's traveling. And then in the end, Israel is reunited with Joseph, and they weep on each other's neck. But then there's something very interesting at the very end. Joseph says, I'm going to go and tell Pharaoh that you've arrived, but it's important when they ask you what you do, tell them that you're shepherds. It says, tell them that you're feeders of the flock, and you've been men of livestock, and that's what you've done for generations and generations. And then it says at the end, the reason for this is that the Egyptians treat shepherds separately. They treat farmers and shepherds separately, and they think they're an abomination. So if they think that you're shepherds, they will leave you alone. They will kind of treat you separately, and you won't have to intermingle with the Egyptians. So Joseph's kind of very clear that he wants his people to live in Egypt, but he doesn't want them to necessarily integrate with the Egyptians. And that might sound quite judgmental or quite controversial today, well, I guess it depends who's saying it. Do you know what I mean? If it's Pharaoh saying, you are shepherds, you're an abomination, you live separately, then that sounds like oppression. If it's the people themselves that are saying, I want to come in to live in your land and I want to live separately, then that's also controversial, but for a different reason. You know, we have all these conversations at the moment about integration and does multiculturalism work? And, you know, we've got the whole ghettoization thing, which I'm not going to get into all of that. But this chapter kind of plays into that. And depending on which side of the fence you sit on, you can either understand it or think it's controversial. But the context of this, and obviously context is everything, is that God here is establishing his nation on earth. So he wants his people to be together and united and not get too kind of, diffused or distracted. But obviously, a lot of people can say that in contemporary times, you know, want to keep pure blood and all this sort of stuff. So again, is a controversial one, which I'm not going to get into, but I'm just going to take the chapter as it is, and that's what it's saying, that Joseph, and through Joseph, it's the wisdom of God, wants his people to be on the land of Egypt through God's promise from Abraham, Isaac, and now Jacob, aka Israel, and now Joseph is holding on to that covenant. And Joseph, God is saying, we want your people to live in Egypt. You know, I will protect you there. Some of you may already know, who have read the Bible, in later chapters, the people of Israel get taken into slavery by the Egyptians. So there's something going on there, where God is bringing them to Egypt, but then they end up in slavery. And I'll deal with those chapters when we get to them. So that's a slight spoiler. I apologize. So it's complex. We already know it's complex. But at the moment, they're being instructed by Joseph to live separately from the Egyptians, but to live in the land of the Egyptians, because that's what God wants of them. So they're trusting in God's plan. So apologies for the spoiler there, but yeah, it's an interesting. There's complexity on the way. I'll just put it that way. Okay, so I will end there. So have a blessed day. Give thanks for those that are listening to this, and I hope they're useful. I hope they're thought-provoking as well. And I certainly am enjoying this journey. So, yeah, God willing, have a blessed day. And again tomorrow, may God be the glory. Blessed love.